The topics and stories that you want to discuss over coffee. The Coffee Club. Now, let's get back to Paul and Janae.
10:06 on a Thursday. Paul and Janae, WDAY 93.1 FM. We're the new kids on the block, not to be confused with the band.
I loved that band.
I know. I was never a boy band aficionado.
Nowadays, people that like new kids are called blockheads.
I know. I was a hair band guy.
Mystal knows I like new kids.
Yeah.
Yes, I do.
I was more of a hair band guy.
This is great because Mystal Axtman, who I will always just refer to as Evanger.
All right.
We grew up together. So Mystal and I, we lived 20 miles from the town we went to school in.
Right.
And
hello, there's a caller there. Hello?
we lived a half a mile away from each other. It was only about a half a mile, right?
I think across country it was like a mile, and we would walk.
Oh,
remember, we'd call each other and be like, okay, we're leaving the house. Meet me in the half-mile mark.
Yes, and we would meet. You're right. Yep. Yep, and through the pasture and the field. Yes, we did. So, and Mystal has Inner Light counseling services here in Fargo. But honestly, Mystal, growing up, we were each other's mental health providers then. I mean, it was just us out there. Well, and my sisters and, our brothers and whatnot. But we didn't get to just go run around town when we were young and do, or run to the swimming pool, or we are literally who we had. Yeah,
there was nobody else around out there. I mean, we hung together all the time. I remember my mom saying, like on the 5th day, like we wanted to spend time together, my mom being like, you have to stay home at least one day this week.
Yeah,
you can't go over to Janae's.
I remember that too. We were inseparable. Well,
that's a good thing. That is a good thing.
Yeah. So I'm just really honored and just happy that you can be on with us the first week of the show.
Oh, I'm so honored you asked me. I'm so excited for you, Janae. This is just great for you.
Yeah, it's really cool. So we talked about having somebody on to discuss mental health because I think we both feel this is such a huge topic right now. It doesn't even matter what age you are. I mean, young kids are suffering with it, teenagers are suffering with it, and adults are suffering with it. We've all been through a lot. So, Booj and I talked about that, and obviously right away I said, I know Mystal. So we got a hold of you to discuss this. I mean, what are you seeing in your counseling service? Are you seeing an increase in children?
Increase in mostly adolescents.
Yeah.
There's a lot of adolescents looking for treatment right now. But you're right. It is across the board. It's not just adolescents. We're seeing a lot of adults coming in. Mm-hmm. Even for me, I had a caseload during the quarantine,
right?
And some of those clients really escalated during that time. Even though they were still coming in for therapy. So, I mean, it's just across the board. Everybody was impacted by the pandemic. Mm-hmm. And I think they're going to continue to be impacted for a while yet.
Yeah, I think so, too. I mean, it's not something you just bounce quickly back from,
Are people in general just, is it the quarantine? Is it the pandemic? Is it just everything that has it just gotten to a point with everybody now where they've just kind of had enough is enough and stress has just gotten to a point where people are just boiling over?
Yes, actually, that's kind of exactly what it is. And this wasn't just like one thing. Mm-hmm. I mean, people lost income. There was financial struggles.
Yeah.
And then there's the social isolation. Mm-hmm. There was kids not being in school. There were parents trying to teach their kids while working full-time at home, or parents with little kids that needed to be monitored while they're working at home. And then there's just this overall fear of what COVID is, losing loved ones, mm-hmm. infecting loved ones, being infected. It's all of that. So kind of what happens is that, our bodies are made to only withstand short amount of stress. So when we have stress for a long duration of time, like we did with the quarantine and COVID overall, our stress levels continue to rise in our system, and our bodies don't get a chance to metabolize them the way that they're supposed to.
Right.
And so that's why you start to see people struggling when it goes on for such a long duration of time.
That's why. Okay, so honestly, between the past year and everything else, like I said, all the everything that we've had to go through, our bodies are not built to take this on.
No, not for this long of a time, and not with this kind of intensity.
So how are there things that people should do? You know, some people are comfortable going to a counselor and talking to a professional. But if people aren't comfortable doing that, obviously, Janae and I both have had friends, acquaintances, and or know people who have taken the unfortunate way out of the situation. They've reached the boiling point and taken their own lives. Are there things people can do if they're not comfortable seeking professional help, like yourself, or going somewhere? What can people do to deal with these situations? You know, like I know for me, I'll half jokingly say I'll get to the end of a day if it's been a long day, if I'm stressed, I'll half jokingly say I just need to decompress. I'll go somewhere, I'll have a glass of whiskey and call it good. For me, that's just what I need. But
Sure.
But what are things people can do to get through this?
Well, okay, so one of the concerns is actually the increase in alcohol consumption. I just want to put that out there.
Okay, I'm bad. Sorry, I'm a problem.
One
I
drink
know.
is one thing, but if you're having like 5, I think you need to look at it.
Right. Yeah.
But that's one of the things that's actually happening is that, people are increasing like their alcohol consumption and they're using an inadequate or unhealthy coping skill instead of trying to go about this in a healthy way. The thing is that unhealthy coping skills like drug and alcohol usage, things like that, they're really quick. People get a quick release from them, so they like it. The healthier coping skills take longer to take effect, such as exercising, eating healthy, meditating, doing yoga, breathing exercises, journaling, reading, anything that would be something along those lines would be considered more of a healthy coping skill. But it's just not quite the same, and so you see a lot of people using the unhealthy ones. But the other thing that I think that would be really big, and it has started happening, I think it's going to start helping, is that people are starting to increase their social interaction again. And that is really healthy. So people are starting to talk more with other people, laughing, joking, having more fun. That social contact is really good. We all need that. And I think that's going to help bring people's stress levels down, too.
Oh, for sure. Just being around people again and
Absolutely.
That'll be
being isolated.
I was having a conversation with a friend of mine last night, Brandon, and we were both joking about, he's in sales, and we were both joking about how just in general social interactions and how we both rely on the handshake.
Yeah.
And how that has so changed, and just watch people reacting to do you handshake? Do you not handshake? And people like they're just kind of spazzing out. It's like, do I? Don't I? It's like, I don't know what to do.
It's like super awkward now. Like you don't know what to do. You're right.
So now you're stressed out at just the meeting.
Yes.
Because you don't know what to do. Do I shake his hand? Do I not shake his hand? Do I fist bump? Do I walk away? Do I elbow? So just meeting somebody, I'm already stressed out at just meeting somebody. Because I don't know what to do.
It's like the complete opposite of social
really
anxiety.
Good point, because trying to adjust back to that social interaction is probably going to be stressful because we had to adapt to not being social.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's an adjustment again.
This is all so weird.
I really wish, Mystal, I really wish you could see his face right now, because it's literally a face expression of like just exhausted stress right now, talking about
take this
how
anymore.
to approach people now again.
So, Mystal, okay, so I know I shouldn't do what I do, but
He's talking about the alcohol.
all the things you mentioned, how do people get started with the healthy ways to do things? Because I know I should. People have told me 1,000 times, well, maybe not 1,000, but a lot. I should try meditation. Mm-hmm. I'm not patient. I have zero. And I tried meditation. I fall asleep. Close your eyes and breathe. I close my eyes and breathe.
Snore.
The next thing that happens is, I mean, that's the next step. We'll just try it for 5 minutes. I'm out. So
you need to get better rest at night.
Well, we discussed that this morning. Either I haven't slept for a week. So how does one get into the healthy ways? What are the techniques? What should we do? How do we do all this good stuff?
Well, I think first of all, you got to figure out what you think is the right fit for you. So there are some people that, I mean, just taking 30 minutes, sitting down and reading a magazine or a book is very calming to them. So that should be their choice.
Yeah.
There are other people that, like they do really well with yoga or exercise or meditation. That should be their choice. So it kind of depends on what you're kind of drawn to. Everybody's personality is different. You know, some people like sports, some people like creative outlets. It just depends. So make up your mind first on what you think you would like to try. Mm-hmm. And then I would say kind of work it into your day. Like create like a schedule, like I'm going to do this every day at 8 a.m.
Yeah, make it a priority.
Yep. And then start following through. And I think even like shorter periods of time, so like people are kind of overwhelmed with everything that's going on. And even like 10 minutes of just downtime, basically what it does is it gives your body rest so that you can start to metabolize those stress hormones. Because when we're constantly on a state of like hyperarousal, that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
And so even just a little bit is good.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then, just I have to do this. I know that this, I'm just not quite feeling myself. I'm kind of struggling with recovering after COVID. I just need this. My body needs it. My mind needs it. This is important.
Yeah. Again, just making it that priority to do it.
Absolutely. Yep.
Oh, I'm stressed out about what I have to do to unstress.
He's so stressed about just seeing people again and not knowing if he should handshake them, fist pump them, hug them, step back.
I'll be fine. I'll be fine.
Is it bad? Is that what you said?
Don't worry about me. I'll be fine.
I think it's fine. I think you'll get through it. You'll be okay. You'll figure it out.
All right, Mystal. If people are at any point, be it themselves, their kids, their adolescents, if they're to the point where they want to sit down and talk with you, or have any other questions, where do they track you down at Inner Light Counseling?
Well, I have a website. You can go to my website directly. You can look it up under Inner Light Counseling, or you could look it up under my name, Mystal Axtman. You could also there's a great website out there. It's called Psychology Today, and it has just an array of therapists listed with specialties, what insurance they take. Oh. That's a really good resource for anyone. I'm on that. They can look me up on there. But if they want to find somebody else, they can find somebody else on there as well. And then my number is 701-478-0906. They can give me a call, and we can see if we can get them in for an appointment. And
we should say, if somebody's really, really at their wit's end, they should probably just call 911.
Yes, and there's also a suicide prevention hotline number that they can call. I don't know the number off the top of my head. But even if they call into, like, the phone number I just listed, my office number, it's on there.
Okay.
So they can get it off of there if they need to.
Okay, good.
Sometimes people can go into Prairie. They can complete a needs assessment there. But if it gets really bad, that's when you see people going into the emergency room, and then they're referring people accordingly.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Mystal.
But I think the most important part is, like, if they're having suicidal thoughts, to reach out before they start to get to a place where they've got a concrete plan and starting to form like intent to do it. They need to start talking to somebody about it before then.
Oh, for sure.
Yep.
All right, Mystal, thank you so very much for joining us this morning. We will definitely have you back to get our heads straight.
It's been fun, guys. You guys are doing a great job.
Thanks, Evanger. Love you, girl.
Yeah,
All
love
right.
you too.
All
Okay,
right.
bye, guys.
That's
Bye.
Mystal Axtman from Interlight Counseling here on the Coffee Club on WDAY. Your calls on the party line and more coming up this morning here on WDAY.